So it's very unfortunate to have to talk about this, and it shouldn't be allowed to happen. Just to say, sexual harassment, uh, in any kind of workplace, it's unacceptable, and particularly in the defence force, there should be a level of camaraderie and understanding, and obviously solidarity with each other, being soldiers, of course. Um, but this happened in January, 2020. Uh, on the 25th January 2050, 25th. It was basically a barbecue at one of the army barracks down the country, and obviously it breached the COVID guidelines. So take that as you will, and obviously it's said it many times. It shouldn't have been allowed to happen because obviously the army, along with the guards, were enforcing the COVID rules, and obviously they're the main arm of the state to enforce the law. The army and the guards. Um, and obviously should not have happened. Let's be honest. First of all, that shouldn't have happened in the first place. It should not have been allowed to happen if only members of the public couldn't have a party, couldn't do anything. If that makes any sense. I'm sure people would agree with me on that. Um, and obviously, it should not have been allowed to happen that sexual harassment happened to members of the army, there, female members of the army. And obviously, the army seems like it tried to cover it up. To be totally honest, so it should that shouldn't have been allowed to happen either, and that's just putting it straight. So obviously a lot of, and I heard the prime time documentary on it. That a lot of every officer seems like in the Irish Army knew about this party. It's not like only one or two officers in the whole army knew about it. It seems like everybody knew in the Irish Army, but every officer in every part of the country knew about it. Even the superiors in Dublin knew about it. Um, so yeah, and obviously it says here a lot of officers have been severely court-martialed for this and been disciplined. So obviously, as a military officer, as a military combatant, you are going to be court-martialed. It's not an only civilian tribunal like a court, like a judge, and you have a jury. It's a military court tribunal. Obviously, it doesn't. In other countries, it leads to death penalty, but not in this country. It doesn't lead to death penalty. It just be more harsher. It's going to be a lot more harsher, and a lot more. You get a good bit more turn off. And obviously, they have their own police in the army too, so it's not on Garda Síochána O'Connor. Well, technically, probably they would have to get involved and look into it on Garda Síochána O'Connor, but it happened on the military grounds, so it's up to the military police, which is an only section of the army, which is the police for the army, if that makes any sense. So it investigates what happens in the army. So it's like in Garda Síochána O'Connor, but it's for the army. It's not for, and then investigates in the police's army grounds, if that makes any sense. Anything that belongs to the defence forces. So obviously, whoever this person made, the post that made the comments to this female soldier, made this comments to female soldiers. He should be suspended. Obviously, he should be suspended. He should be kicked out. Or he should be imprisoned, or something like that. He should be imprisoned, but he should face harsh punishment for it. Because again, it should be zero tolerance in the army and the defence forces of it. So yeah, and obviously that should be, and obviously whoever was involved in organising the drinks, who I'm sure was some officer, because I'm sure they had to get some higher up to agree to it. I'm sure the soldiers didn't go off a whiff and do it themselves. I'm sure they had to get the green light from an officer, or some lieutenant or somebody, and obviously whoever that is should be charged with breaking the COVID rules. Because again, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. And only citizens were charged, and this is the thing. But yeah, more upset, and again, this is the state of the Irish Army at the moment. What's happened again? There's more with the women of honour, or you probably have heard of the women of honour, sexual harassment claims throughout the years in the defence forces. So a lot of that, but this is only one case of probably many. But obviously, you have to admire this person for speaking up, because obviously the defence forces are trying to hide it and trying to cover it up. It looks like. Same with the women of honour, they were saying about the defence forces not taking it seriously and trying to cover it up at the same time. And obviously, as I say, there should be zero tolerance in the army of it. Zero tolerance. Because the army, there's no place for that in the army. There's no place for it. There's no place. You're there to defend the state. You're there to defend the nation. You're not there to cause harm and to... Especially because, again, as I used the word camaraderie, there should be solidarity with all your soldiers, because you're all fighting the good fight, and you're there to fight for your country and to defend your country. You're not there to cause harm to each other. So yeah, it's unfortunate because again, there's some people in there's always one or two bad eggs in the army that do no good, and that's to be totally honest. But yeah, hopefully justice will be solved here. That's all I say. But yeah, let me know what you think. Bye.